What radio? The music you want.
With your host, Keys Dan.
You're like a crazy person.
RadioWhat.com. What's up, party people? It's Keys Dan with RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com, coming at you live and in living color from the Radio What studios. And this is my podcast, What Makes You Famous. It's an extension of the RadioWhat.com internet radio station that I've been running for quite some time. And if you need DJ services, where do you go? DJLittleRock.com. Check availability and get a free price quote. And maybe you can have me, yes, little old me, at your next event. I like to party with the people. And yes, I use party as a verb. I'm not afraid to do it. I'm a wordsmith of sorts. Yes, I stumble quite a bit, but I like the words and I like to play with the people. I have the honor of being with people at their best times, at their best events, weddings and birthday parties. Yes. 50th anniversaries. Yes. Love it. People are ready to play. They're ready to have a good time, and I get to be there. Speaking of having a good time, today on the program, I'm going to have a good time with GXM. Who's GXM? Well, you stick around, and in the next few minutes, you're going to have GXM in your ears. All right, this time in the podcast is where I would put the public shows and the private shows and promote them as they come up this weekend. Well, guess what? Due to the COVID-19 coronavirus, I have no public shows, no private shows. I miss all of you at the karaoke jams and the video dance parties and the weddings and the corporate events. And yes, even the 5-year-old birthday parties where I'll do balloon animals and such, entertaining the kids and the 50th anniversaries. Congratulations. You've been married a long time. Well, I got none of that. We're going to bust out of this real soon as this coronavirus makes its way through our world. That little bug's not going to beat everybody. The strong shall survive. We will prevail. All right. My little rant over. Let's get into it with GXM. Calling GXM now.
Hey, man, appreciate you having me on the show.
Hey, Mr. GXM, I presume?
Yes, sir, that is me.
Well played. This Keys Dan with the What Makes You Famous podcast. How you living?
Living pretty good, man. Hanging in there over here in Charlottesville, Virginia, man. Dealing with this virus right now. Hopefully it'll pass soon, but just staying isolated.
Does anybody you know, or do you have the virus? Have you met anybody like that?
Oh, man, my mother's boyfriend got the virus. Well, I should say ex-boyfriend, but, that's probably the closest person in my circle here locally, but it's obviously affecting tons of people worldwide, man. So we just got to stay low key right now.
Well, how's he holding up?
Yeah, he beat it. He actually beat it. So he's going to be back to work this week.
That's good. That's good. Those are the stories that I'm hearing more often than not. People are getting it, getting a little cold, maybe even a bad cold, maybe, like a bad flu, and then just kicking it, just like a little bed rest. And most people are making it through. It's the people that have the lower immune systems, the people that might be more susceptible, that might be having more of the problem. But, stay vigilant. And that's where we're at in this moment in time. But we're talking to GXM. GXM. What does that mean? Tell the people who you are, man.
All right, GXM, I'm a hip-hop artist out of Charlottesville, Virginia. It stands for God and Martian. So basically, I made this up one day. I was thinking about the world and everything about it. I feel like I'm a creator. I'm someone who can, take control of other people's mindsets and kind of conform them into the right way of thinking. So I have the aspects of a God in that sense, but also I'm a Martian. So I think differently than other people. That's where the Martian part comes from. I'm not some mainstream guy who wants to work a 9 to 5 and push that concept into the young listeners' ears. I want to, make them chase a passion. And that's not what everybody says, day in and day out. They always want you to do the normal thing. So that's where I consider myself a Martian in a way. It's just kind of an ideology, about being different. So I'm a God mixed with a Martian, and that's where my name GXM comes from.
Well, GXM, most creators find themselves to be away from the norm. A lot of creators, their brains work differently. Their ideas are different. And yeah, you might feel like you're from another planet. Have you ever read or heard about the book Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus? Are you familiar with that work?
No, I'm not, man, but I may have to look into it.
That's so funny. It might be something that probably, hit your brain. I think it's something that you come across maybe like your senior year of high school or maybe like the first year of college. They'll try to expand your mind a little bit and let you know the difference between men and women. It's kind of an analogy about that. I don't think I've read it all the way through, but I'm pretty sure I've got the cliff notes. Men are always trying to figure out women, and women are always trying to figure out men. And I don't think we're ever going to figure it out because we're two different species, man. From
yeah.
But you are a dude, and you sent me a great picture of you, a glamour shot of you, and you came off with a statement that really hit me to the core. The creations that I do. If I'm playing on the stage, if I'm playing music, and I've only ever DJ'd or MC'd, it's to impress women. Everything we do as heterosexual men, for the most part, is to impress girls, man. Is that where is that what you feel sometimes?
I do, definitely, man. I think from the photo aspect of it, definitely to impress women. That's why I sent you that specific one. Maybe they'll see my visual and they'll want to hear more about me. You know what I mean? But as far as the music goes, that's not necessarily guided towards specifically women because I just want a larger population to relate to that, depending on their upbringing and their situation in life at the time. That's music's kind of more, opening for all genders and whatnot, all ages. But yeah, dude, as far as the pictures, most definitely, good looking guy. I'm young. I got a solid background behind me, and definitely trying to get some women looking at my material.
Well, I mean, when I was a younger man, they would call me the fish hook. I was a firefighter in Key Largo in the Florida Keys, and they would have me out there washing my fire truck and shirtless, and they would hope that there would be some ladies to stop and give me a talk to, and then they would get my leftovers, to say it more crudely than I probably should. As a 51-year-old man, remembering the glory days,
yeah, man.
And you hook them. Is that the way you should say it? I don't know. But yes, try to impress girls. But the music is universal, man. It's transcendental to all that. Music is for all sexes, all races, all people. And I'm listening to your jams, man. They're very smooth. And I've seen some of your videos. You're out there on stage. Are you doing rap battles or is this all pre-approved entertainment where you get booked and they want to see GXM?
So that video you saw, man, that was actually just a showcase. So, that was kind of for everybody to get a little bit of exposure and things like that. I'm hoping to do, well, I'm not hoping, I know I can make this happen, do some more gigs this summer once this stuff clears up. It's going to be obviously a crowd of people going out wanting to see new musicians in my town, at least. And I'm definitely going to be one of them. But yeah, that you saw was just a showcase, man. But I appreciate you, giving me some feedback on my music. Yeah, the music itself. Yep.
Oh, I encourage people to look you up on Spotify. I know I found you on Instagram, and that caught my eye and it caught my ear. Just the jams that you're putting out there, and I enjoy talking to creators, people of the music industry, of any industry, because almost everybody has a story. I mean, well, everybody has a story, but I wanted to hear your story, GXM. You're from Virginia. Is that where you were born and raised?
Yeah, I was actually born in Henrico, Virginia, which is just outside of Richmond. I lived in Henrico, or a small town outside of that, for maybe till the time I was 5 years old, and then I moved to a town called Louisa, Virginia, and lived in Louisa, Virginia from maybe 5 to 13 or so, and then from 13 to this point, I've been in Charlottesville. So, stayed in Virginia, but moved around a couple times.
Well, the only name that I really recognized is Richmond. I'm thinking that's a bigger city, but the other towns...
Yeah, it's the capital. It's the capital of the state, yeah.
Yeah, are the other towns pretty small towns? I mean, is it small town life?
Yeah. Definitely small town life, man. The town I'm in right now, Charlottesville, it's pretty big on arts and things like that. It's got the University of Virginia. I don't know if you heard of that. They won the NCAA basketball tournament, last year, I think.
Represent.
So, yeah, so they got the sports going on at that college at least, and it's starting to get a lot of more notoriety as time goes on. But I say that's the biggest thing here in Charlottesville. We have maybe one or two clubs, and it's kind of the social scene for a lot of young individuals, in the summer.
I think it's a smart move, GXM, to move from a small town, which could limit you. I mean, there's an advantage to being in a small town. Everybody knows everybody. If you get in trouble, people are going to help you out. But by the same token, if you cause trouble, people are going to put you right down, man, and make sure that you don't cause that trouble. But you move to a college town, people might be more free thinking. People might give you more inspiration. Do you find that that's the case?
In a sense, most definitely. I've met people, that have the same ideas that I do, that are creators. Like some of my buddies are creators, others are not, but they all are open-minded and things like that. I mean, here in Charlottesville, I really honestly haven't communicated with a lot of folks my age. I'm 19 years old. I'm not in college. I'm not, doing anything school related. That's where most of the population my age is. Most of the kids my age are in school here at University of Virginia Community College. I kind of took a different route, had a different upbringing, but I just hang around a lot of older individuals who like my music and things like that, man, just doing my thing.
Hey, I've been to college a bunch of times, mostly for little things, to do my communications, to get a little radio degree, to get my firefighting license, to, just enough to get those little bumps that you need to keep yourself going. And I imagine at some point you're going to go, I mean, if you really are interested in the recording side, you might be more into the writing and creating side, but a lot of times people will jump over and, hey, let me find out what's going on the mixing board. How do I mix that stuff? Because I see that guy with the headphones, and he's mixing all my stuff for me. I mean, it's a team effort a lot of times, putting music down. But I mean, if you got a computer and a decent mic, you can do it all yourself.
Yeah, man, that's actually what I do, dude. I do it all myself.
No way. So you learned the technical side as well.
Well, so somebody actually mixes the tracks for me. I'd say I do about 75% of it, and then I send the other 25% off to actually a guy in Russia who I pay him in rubles, and he mixes my music.
I think that's the name of your next album. I pay him in rubles.
Yeah,
I love it, man. When does that drop? 2021.
Yeah.
No, I
pay him in rubles.
No, I like that. Having the internet, it's all worldwide. I talk to artists all over the world. Thankfully, due to with this technology that we have, we can Skype, we can chat with people through email and Instagram and all those other social medias. And people, man, I talked to a guy who's a singer and guitarist in Australia. His bassist is in the Middle East. His drummer is in Germany. And he puts it all together in Australia, and he comes up with some great music, man. You could collaborate with people all over the world, and maybe not even meet them face to face. And this is really what you're doing. Have you ever been to Russia?
No, I haven't. My mother lived there for quite some time. I have a small amount of Eastern European in my genetics, but other than that, man, I've never been there. No. I'm kind of fascinated by their culture a little bit, though, just because, my mother lived there for a little bit of time and speaks, she's fluent in Russian. But other than that, man, I met the guy, like you said, through social media, and he does a damn good job on my work and charges a great price. So I was like, why not?
Yeah, GXM. I mean, since the wall got broken down, I'm interested in Russian culture. I see all the pictures of what's going on over there. I mean, these buildings are old and beautiful, and the structures very inspirational.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness. So, I mean, what did you get from your mom, since you mentioned that she's Eastern European descent? What kind of culture references did you get from her?
Honestly, man, nothing at all. But, we grew up, I don't know, my parents split up when I was real young, and we never really went far into the cultural side of things. I think, I was homeschooled from, I don't know, maybe 3rd to 5th grade or something like that. And my mom taught me quite a bit as far as maybe Spanish language and things of that nature, but nothing too far into the Russian. But every time we go into a food line or something and there'd be a Russian speaker, man, she would just go on and on and on. And I'd be like, damn, that just sounds like an awesome language. And especially then when women speak that language, man, it's pretty damn cool.
It's a wonderful language, man. I'm not familiar with it. I speak a little Spanish and a little English, but when I was in Miami, I did a lot of different weddings. And one of the most memorable ones was a Russian Jewish wedding. And the dad, he was like straight from, straight fresh off the boat. I guess what you'd call it, straight from Russia. Yeah. And he said, when I give my speech, and his English was very broken. He said, well, when I give my speech, I don't think I'm going to be making so much of a toast. I'm kind of scared. I don't speak a lot of English. But bro, when he busted out that Russian and started talking to his family and friends out there, and just, oh my goodness, so wonderful. He went 45 minutes. You talk about rap. Dude. You talk about rap. This man rapped it out, and his family was very appreciative. But how did you become a lyricist? I mean, is this something that you and homeschool? Let me give props to your mom for homeschool, because that is a one-on-one education that you cannot top. I don't remember much about the homeschool, man, but I do remember it was from a short time, maybe from 3rd to 5th grade. I think, I just wasn't doing well, or something with the teachers, at the time, or whatever, something was going on. But how did I become a lyricist? Man, it's been a long journey. I think I was real young. I started listening to Eminem, dude, and my dad was a classic rock musician. When he was in his late 20s, he was in a couple bands, things like that, out in California, and he's a great guitarist. So I grew up playing the drums. My dad was a great guitarist, and I'd be on the drums banging, and we'd be having little family band between me and my dad, just bang, bang, bang. And I fell in love with music. And as I got older, dude, I was listening to rap music, and my life got, kind of tough at a certain time. And I let all that stuff out. It really helped me to let it all out in the notebook. I actually started writing deep, deep songs. And if you go back into my further music, before all this new stuff, it was almost like I was just expressing my feelings in these songs, word for word. So, I just started writing in a notebook maybe about a year and a half ago. It was that recently. But other than that, I was freestyling in the 5th grade with my buddies, just making jokes, getting in a worlds of trouble, freestyling the raps. Man, what a wonderful way to bond with your dad. Just play, him playing guitar and you banging on the drums. I'm sure that was a good time. Man, thank you for relating that story with me and my listeners, of course. I couldn't imagine. Yes, my parents broke up when I was very young too. So I didn't know a lot of my dad. I knew he rode motorcycles, but you at least had some time to bond with your dad and play some of the music that he liked. And then you found your own way. If you're going to emulate somebody, Eminem is not a bad way to go. I mean, I know in recent years he's kind of been slowing down and kind of being the family kind of guy. But when he was in his prime, man, he was kicking butt, man.
Definitely.
Oh my goodness!
I think the first album I heard was the Recovery album. That was the first album, and I didn't know what any of that stuff meant. All I heard, I like him saying the F word a lot, and right. I was young and I liked that, and so I said I'm gonna keep listening to this stuff. So
well, that was his niche. That's how he brought you in. You thought you were listening to something a little naughty. Ooh, my mom wouldn't like this. I think I'm going to listen a little bit more. But then you get into the lyrics a little bit and you find out, there's some substance here. Oh yeah. There's something going on back here. He's telling a story. And is that the way that you like to do your lyrics as well? Do you tell your life story or stories you've heard?
Yeah, well, in a way, man. When I first started off, it was a lot of feelings, not so much a story, but a lot of feelings, just expressing them in my songs and hoping other people could relate to it. And then I actually was brought upon this other artist, and he said, man, look, you're very talented, but you need to make songs in a way that more people can relate, not go so deep. That actually gave me a lot of good advice. That actually set me up for success in a lot of ways, because I did start to make it a little bit more broad for a lot of different listeners, rather than going so deep into my specific feelings. I let it so more people can relate to it. So
that's smart to keep yourself more broad and more general, but don't tell that to Tupac. That man named names from his own personal journey, and maybe that might have been his demise, but he did things the way he wanted.
Yeah.
And there's been so many that have done things that they wanted. Maybe they haven't quite attained the level that they wanted to, but they did not limit themselves creatively. If you got a story to tell it. Some people write books, some people write poems.
Right.
You rap, man. You hip hop.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did I use that as a verb properly? I'm 51 years old, man. Maybe I'm losing touch.
Yeah, you got it.
You hip hop. You are a hippie hoppy person.
That's right.
No, I mean, and you said you've only started writing these things down. You must have had something in your head before 17, 18 years old. I mean, were you?
Oh yeah.
Were you rapping to the people in school?
Yeah. We had lots of freestyle battles in grade school, but I'd say my rapping really got started, man, when I got strung out on drugs, and that was a big part of my life. I was, I'm a recovering addict at the moment, but I got strung out on drugs pretty bad when I was maybe 16, 17, man, and we would sit there at the house, and I would just go off, for these people, and they'd say, just wonderful things about how well I was doing in my raps, and I gotta just keep it up, But at the time, I was just more into it for the fun of it. But
I mean, that's a through line with a lot of creators. They do get into the life, and there's substance abuse of some kind. When you say you're on drugs, I mean, it could be anything from marijuana, which really is becoming legal all over the world, or crack cocaine, or what substance were you hitting hard, if you don't mind saying?
Yeah, man. So at the time when I was rapping, man, I was big on crystal meth. I was, 16, 17 years old. And it was really just because my circle of friends, I dropped out of high school, man. And, that kind of set me up down a dark road, because I was trying to find myself in a way different than all the other people my age were. And I found that, through drugs and, things on that side of the fence. So, I was doing a lot of that meth at the time, and man, I would just be up for days rapping, just just going at it. But that was my first drug of choice, and later on, I got hooked on pills, and that's kind of what sent me into recovery. So, I went through the rehab process, man, and feel like a new man right now.
I mean, still going to meetings, like something very structured? Is that kind of rehab?
Well, I was going to meetings up until about a month ago, and the meetings around my town, I didn't necessarily think were the best for me, because there was still a lot of negative energy in those meetings, as far as people thinking that, their jail stories are cool and all things like that. And I was just so far past that and all the, all the negativity in the rooms, that I just decided, I think I can do this on my own, and I have been able to so far. But, yeah, man.
Yeah, I got to live vicariously through you, GXM. I mean, I've smelled marijuana. I've had it in my vicinity. I've seen people do these things. I've never had firsthand knowledge of it, but I can see what it does to people. And people tell me, hey, drugs feel good. They make you feel powerful. They make you feel like a god. And I got to imagine that is the case in some respects, but then they take over your life. I mean, what was your experience with that?
Yeah, I say they definitely took over my life, and the main reason why I started using drugs is because I had such bad anxiety as a kid, man. It's just social anxiety. I didn't relate well to people. I didn't know what to say at certain times, and it was a bad physical thing for me too. I'd break out in the sweat and things like that. And so I turned to drugs as an escape for a long time, and when I was doing that meth, man, it definitely took over my life. I'd be up for days, and I actually went into a full-blown psychosis, and that is what ended up, stopping that for me, was that psychosis when I was seeing, snipers in the woods and shooting them, and obviously there were no snipers there, man.
Amazing, man. Well, thanks for sharing a bit of that story.
Yeah.
Because really,
I may as well.
Yeah. I mean, I appreciate it. People can live through you, learn from the mistakes of others. But I mean, on the other token, you got a lot done. You were up all day, all night doing stuff. My goodness. I mean, I'm thankful that you're past that. And so lyrically, are you telling those stories, or what are you telling? What kind of stories are you telling in your songs?
Right now, I'm just trying to make good music. I'm not focusing on so much the deep storytelling as much anymore. But I'm just trying to make good music. As an artist, being in the rap industry, it's so hard to make it right now. Because all these, you've heard plenty of these raps. There's people are not talented. It's just all about building an image and marketing, and I'm using a lot of my experience and some of my stories just to make good songs in general. And I want to build a brand for myself. Obviously I'm a good looking guy, and I got a lot of potential, man. But the thing is, you have to build that brand. I got to get a good photo shoot done, and just things like that, and just taking steps forward.
He's not bragging. It's true. He's a hottie. I could say that as a heterosexual man. I'm comfortable with my.
Yes, sir. You got it, man.
Yeah, and you're doing it, man. And a lot of people think that how do you get started in the music business? Can you do it on your own? Yes. You get yourself a computer for under $1,000. You can have a recording studio in your own bedroom, and you can put it all out there. Here I am. The Radio What studios have been located to a room in my apartment. So, here I am. I'm talking to you from Conway, Arkansas. So you can do it. If you want to be creative, you can create. You're not tied down to being a record into a record label. You could do it all on your own. Put it out there like GXM's doing. You're out there on Spotify. Now you say, are you doing the beats on your own as well?
No. I'm not a producer. Somebody does those for me. And
well, you could shout out
what's that?
The people that have helped you along the way. Yeah, definitely want to give credit.
Yeah. Shout out Cobra Beats, Riney Beats. Those two guys have done wonders for me. Joshua Bishop 12 on Instagram, another one's done some good beats for me, man. I stick with that right now, but those guys have definitely done some good work.
I mean, do you get the beats first and then lay down the lyrics over the top, or you give them the lyrics? Oh, okay.
No. So as an artist, this is how I do it, and I know about 80% of what people do it. You got to have that beat, because if you're trying to mold and bend lyrics over to something that, if over a beat that's not already there, it's like, trying to fit a cooler into a water glass kind of, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah. You got to have a place to start. And if that's the place that you start, GXM, that's as good a place as any, because some people will bring a guitar, like your dad would probably bring a guitar lick over to his drummer, and growing up, you had that inspiration where it's a team effort, and it is a team effort, man. You have beats that are coming from someplace else, and maybe you've paid for the beats, but yes, it's good to give credit where credit is due. Without those beats, it'd just be you singing a cappella, which has its place as well. So, when was the first time that you got out there and said, you know what, I'm getting good enough. Let me get out to the world and get in the showcase. Man.
Yeah. So I was, when I was 16, I was living with my mom, right? This was right after I went into psychosis. I was like, man, I got to get off the drugs and everything. So I was writing in my notebook, and all of a sudden I had this vision, and I said, man, I can do this. I can be that star. Nothing's going to stop me. And I was, I was drinking a lot at the time and whatever. But I had a lot of these ideas, and I just made them to reality. My dad had a friend who I actually lived with. To this day, I actually live with this guy as my roommate.
Cool.
My dad had a friend who was in the music industry, for some time. And he said, my dad said, you got to go record this guy. And I had anxiety. I was like, man, should I do this? Should I not do it? But I put a song together, and I went over there, and he was like, $20 an hour. I was like, that's pretty damn good, which is a good rate for studio, whatever. So went over to his crib, man, laid this song down, and he was like, dude, you're damn good. You got to keep this up. And I was like, appreciate it, man. So that kind of gave me that hope, that I really can do this. I saw how easy it was to record a song. If you have somebody that's good at mixing and whatnot, you just got to put the whole package together, man, and go. So that was probably the first time I made a song.
Well, you're giving people some knowledge, GXM, just like any job. You got to work at it and be, you can't just automatically have it out there, automatically think that you can be a rapper. You got to work at this. And how, you say you've been doing it a little bit beforehand, but you really didn't get serious until just a couple of years ago. Man, in that couple of years, do you find yourself getting better and better as time progresses?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. I mean, you improve every day at this stuff. And obviously you have days where you feel like you can't do it at all, but that's part of being an artist. You have writer's block, and it's just being mentally tough. How mentally tough are you? You just got to believe in yourself, and that's what will get you started in the first place. If you want to be an artist, if you want to be an influencer on Instagram, if you want to be an author, whatever you want to do, just got to believe in yourself from day one. And yeah, you're going to have days that you feel like this isn't for me, or I'm not the one for this, but you just got to know all the other influencers, creators, and whatnot, they have those days too, man. Just keep pushing forward. So that's just what you got to do.
Absolutely, man. You're giving me gems, GXM. Everybody has bad days. I mean, any brothers and sisters you grew up with?
Yeah, so I got an older sister out in California. Shout out to Santa Cruz, California. Her name is Siena, like the city in Italy, Siena, and she's actually a painter. She's an artist. Does beautiful artwork, man. I got her Instagram is Burnt Siena, BURNTSINA. And you can go check out her paintings, and she does wonderful work.
Excellent. So what took her out to California? And you ever been out there to visit with her?
Yeah, I go out there. I'm hoping to go out there, if this travel ban clears up and spend some time with her. But she just wanted to get out, out of this town. It was, rough for kind of both of us growing up. We had both our parents there, my mother and my father, but, they were wonderful people. I love them both. They did a great job of raising us, but there was things that, kind of, made it hard for us. And I think that's, with any household there will be, anyways, my sister just really wanted to get out of this town. There's not much hope here, man. And, where we went to high school. So she graduated and went to college out there, actually. And out of state tuition, I get on her for that, but, and hopefully it'll pay off in the end.
Hey, sometimes you got to break out and start over. I mean, shoot, at 40 years old, I broke out of Miami and the Florida Keys, which some would consider paradise, and moved it to Conway, Arkansas, just north of Little Rock. What am I doing here? My world turned from beach water blue to green, but I'm living well, man. Yeah, you could do anything you want, man, anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world. You could do your job from anywhere, man. You could put your beats out, make your raps, and you could do it from anywhere. And I found that I could do it from anywhere, and it made my wife happy. So I'm here.
Yeah, that's what matters, man. Awesome, dude.
So cool, man. A young lad, 19 years old, just beginning, breaking out into the world, showing the people what he can do. I found you on Spotify. You're out there on, there's a topic page for you on YouTube as well, the GXM topic. Do you have a YouTube page put out there?
No, I don't. I didn't know that. I appreciate you pointing that out.
Yeah, obviously people are digging your tunes. They're putting, I guess it gets like, let's see, there's Guala Guala and Bad Habits. And maybe it's a whole nother GXM. It's possible.
It is possible. But
do you recognize those names of those songs?
I don't, but I do have a guy that does my marketing. He just hit me up and we just started working together. So they just has been a thing for a while. But anyways, this guy, shout out Cameron Stone, man. He hit me up and asked me to do some of my marketing for me, and he works with some other bigger artists. So he's been working on my YouTube page and kind of, it's called Google Analytics. They send traffic to your pages and things like that. So he's been working on that for me. So, maybe that's what it is.
It takes a team, man. It's a team effort. to build up a star, man. And that's what you have. You work well with others. I mean, I know on your Spotify, you got The Moment, Hands Up, Antisocial, 17, Die Young. And those are definitely you, right?
Yeah, all me, man.
Yeah, those are the ones I've been listening today, and just smooth jams, man. Just lyrically happy, and the beats definitely bring you in, and the lyrics keep you there, man. It's just you're good. You're good, man. I can't say anything less than you're good. Take a listen, give it a spin. If I get the MP3s, I'll put them out there on Radio What. Of course, man, I need to have it radio friendly, but
Okay.
you're gonna bring in the kids. The kids, just like you were brought in by Eminem, and something that seemed like it belonged to you. People are gonna find you, and you are gonna belong to them. You're gonna shape them lyrically and pop culturally, and they're gonna listen to GXM and go, man, that guy has something. Just like your producer says, you have something.
Yeah.
Keep it going.
Yeah, man. I can probably get you those clean tracks. I'll work on it for you.
Well, that's just it. That's just it, man.
Yeah.
I'd hate for you to limit yourself creatively. Like, your friend had a good idea. Definitely, if you want to get some airplay or some broader listenership, maybe you should do broader ideas. And then once you get established, you start breaking, you start getting the stuff that really means a lot to you, such as your own personal relationship and how you grew up and things that happened to you. I mean, is this something you're going to explore?
What's that? Like looking into how, I got to this point?
Yeah, going deeper into yourself lyrically and maybe writing more, things that are more personal, such as the story you just gave me, about you growing up and getting derailed, with the abuse and such. But
I think I really explore that every day about myself, and I have for a long time because I've always had this severe mental health issues. Not depression, man. I've never been depressed. I could say maybe for like a week, 2 weeks, but and it's because I have a passion. I know what I want to do. But anyways, I've always had severe anxiety. Some bad anxiety that has never really been treatable. So. I actually got hooked on, I don't know if you know what Xanax is.
I know. I've heard of it.
Yeah. So that's for anxiety, but I didn't have a prescription. So, man, this was after, I had the incident with the meth. I got on these pills and I was kind of running off them for my fuel. And that's when I started having the real, looking into myself moments as far as how long can I do this? Without getting caught, first of all, and can I get a prescription for these? Because I think they really helped me, and that was the biggest thing. I thought that those were my crutch. They were going to be the thing that led me to success. But obviously, you know how that turns out. Not so great. So those weren't good.
Well, GXM, as we're living in this particular time as we record this in April of 2020. People are living in quarantine, and I've talked to a lot of folks that are living alone, and they're feeling scared and anxious. But thankfully, at least you have a roommate, somebody you could talk to. So you're quarantined with somebody. Is that right?
Yeah, man. We live in the same apartment, man. We kind of do our own thing,
right.
But we talk, and he's always asking about my music. We talk about each other's life and stuff, man. Real cool guy to just chat with, catch up on shit.
But you got your own recording studio in your room, I'm guessing?
Yeah, man. Yep, got my own little setup, and I'm good to go.
Is that how you spend your time as the days are filling up? I mean, you're not. Are you able to get out and go to work, or do you have another job to help you keep the bills paid, or is this what you're trying to do?
Right now, I'm unemployed. Actually, I had a job at CVS working in a pharmacy, man. I was working in a pharmacy counting Xanax, counting pills.
Irony. Oh, sweet irony.
Yeah.
And hey, look, I mean, people recover and people keep living, man. I've had bartenders that are on the wagon, throughout the years. I'm like, really? And they go, yep, I go to a meeting every day. This is just a job. I go, okay.
Yeah.
The temptation is there, man. But
Yep,
hey, I'm
exactly.
sorry that you're out of a job. You know, the reason we have those day jobs is to get that insurance paid while we pursue our
Yeah,
passions. You know, and
right,
I
right.
hope that as soon as this is all over, you get back into the workforce and keep doing what you want to do, man. And hey,
Yeah,
hopefully this rap thing, as moms and dads would say, turns into a career for you,
yeah,
man. You know.
yeah. I know that. That's what we can hope for, and just keep moving day by day towards it, and just not give up. I think once I start performing, live shows and things, that's when I'll really take off. People see who's behind the music. They put an image to it. Once I get out that music video, people will see who's actually doing this stuff, and see who it is and relate to it. Hopefully relate to my story a little bit.
You're looking to put a music video together?
Yeah, man, definitely. Obviously it takes funds, so
Oh yeah.
once that comes through, I kind of have ideas, and I can't really set deadlines for myself. I've never been good about that. I set a deadline, and then I don't make the deadline, and I get down on myself for it. So I just kind of let things happen and fall into place as they should.
See, now once you start working with others, you get a director and a videographer,
Yeah,
of
they
sorts.
give me those deadlines.
Yeah, you got to get on track, man. Then you got to be someplace at a certain time, and they help to keep you accountable. Working well with
Yeah.
others, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool, man. The Spotify, you have the songs out on Spotify. What's the response on them? You feel like you're getting some good response there?
Yeah. I feel like I'm doing pretty well. I got 10,000 streams on one of them, 8,000 on another, and they're about 2 months old, I want to say. So I'm doing pretty good so far. It's just progression. It takes time.
That's got to make you feel good, man. The feedback, you put it out into the world, and people are listening to it, man.
Yeah,
that's got.
And I love good. Spotify. I love Spotify because it breaks down in specific areas. For the artists, like specific countries and cities where you're actually accumulating those streams. So it's pretty cool in that sense.
Yeah, I could see a world tour based on those numbers.
That's true, man.
GXM, he's popular in the Congo in Africa. I'm going to go do a tour.
Right, yeah, man.
Oh man, all around the world, and that's another thing we already discussed. The internet, it brings everybody together, man. So, all right, once we bust out, and it looks like pretty soon, especially Virginia, I think your governor is already ready to break out, man. Start back to normalization this Friday, even, man, or at least by May 1st.
Really, he said that?
Something about that. I mean, I know Trump was tweeting about Minnesota, Michigan, and Virginia. He put out 3 tweets a couple of days ago. Specifying that you guys want to break out and I want to break you out, something like that.
Okay. Yeah, I don't really have a say on that.
Yeah, you do. You're a voter. You could vote. You're over 18.
I think personally, dude, I think we need to stay in this a little bit longer. But, I do have friends and family that are all involved in the stock market and whatnot, and I can definitely see that side of it as well. I think we just got to let it play out and see what happens, dude.
Stock market is crazy, man. I heard that that oil is like $37 negative $37.
Yeah.
The oil manufacturers are paying you to store it, man, because they can't keep it. It's weird. It's so weird, man. People are like,
it's strange times. Yeah.
I can imagine. You have family that's in the stock market. I've never played the stock market, man, but it sounds kind of interesting to me. It sounds crazy that we base our economy on all that. But man, hey, it gives you something else to write about. It's something else to think about.
Yeah.
How many songs or raps would you say there were poems or spoken word? How does a rap start? I mean, is it that?
How did my song start?
Yeah. Is it like a poem that you make into a rap, or you're already thinking about it in a certain way?
Yeah, that's kind of how I used to do my work, was more like a poem style. I started writing in a notebook. And I did it that way. And then as time moved on, I kind of changed my style because I needed to adapt to, the music scene around me and see what they were doing and see how I need to find my niche and my groove that way. So I started just hearing the beat first and going from there, and actually just punching in. I don't write anything anymore. Everything you hear is just right off the top of my head. and I just keep on going from from there. So that's kind of how I do it.
That is impressive, man. Because a lot of people, rappers in particular, that have those words that rhyme in their heads and can put them together like jigsaw puzzles. It's just so impressive to me, man. I think I have some kind of a grasp on the English language, but I stutter, I stumble, I say and oh more than I probably should ever. But it impresses me to no end, man. That somebody could to take the English language and possibly even another language. You say a little bit of Spanish. I guess you think you got taught that. I can imagine you breaking stuff and just fitting other words in as time progresses.
Yeah,
Mr. GXM.
And a lot of artists are doing that. Yeah, a lot of artists are doing that nowadays. And I think as far as the words go, it really is a natural thing. I was doing it since I was young, kind of just saying stuff in my head. That's part of having ADHD or whatever, too. You just kind of have always things in your head. But yeah, man, I'd be sitting around with a bunch of buddies and they just start rapping, and it was a good time, and that's kind of how I got started.
Yeah, people that have problems with words generally have mnemonics to help them to learn those words. People that have dyslexia, for example, learn how to read and write and think differently so they can get through and overcome those. So if you've had any anxiety or any problems with words, that's going to make you see them a whole lot different, and you'll be putting them together differently than other people would even imagine. So that's what's going to help your creativity, man. And that's how you became where you were. You took something that could be a disability to somebody else, and you turned it into a positive.
Yeah, and if you look at a lot of these guys with podcasts, on YouTube, or a lot of these artists, or a lot of these creators, man, they've all had mental health struggles in the past. Now, I can't say all of them, but a large percentage have had these struggles in the past, whether it be, just general life struggles, as far as family and friends, or, these mental health issues have kind of inspired them and paved the way for their success, like you said. So it is definitely turning a negative into a positive in that sense.
Oh yeah, I know as a radio broadcaster, as a podcaster, I've always been better when I have somebody else in the room, somebody to bounce off of. I'm pretty much a talking head. You got to put some news in front of me. There's so much you can learn from people, and for somebody like you, you'll learn something, you'll write it down, put it to a beat, boom, it's out to the world. Put it on Spotify and Apple iTunes, and hey, maybe you can make a little bit of a living doing that.
Yeah. Excellent. Yeah, man, that's a dream. That's the dream, yes, sir.
Excellent dream. GXM, how do people get a hold of you if they want to book you after this is all over? They want to put you on stage, man. How do they find out?
You can email me at GXMaudio, AUDIO @gmail.com, or look me up on Instagram, GodXMartian, and DM me on there. That's about it.
Is that all you have? Is the Instagram?
Yeah, that's all I got, man. Funny story. I'll jump into this real quick.
Please.
So before I had, my own recording stuff, I was actually going to a studio. I had a car at the time. I had a license. I don't have either anymore, but this was when I was young. I had a car and a license, and I was driving to Richmond. It was about an hour commute. I drive there and pay ridiculous amounts of money for recording time. And so I drive there and do my recording and things like that. And I asked the guy, man, how do I make it? What do I got to do? He said, you got to make social media. It's the only way you're going to get exposed, because you said you're talented, but man, you don't got any social media. I said, man, I don't want any social media. I don't like that stuff. I think it's a bunch of fake stuff. He said, all right, you're not going to make it then. And I said, all right, man, I'll tell you, I got to make some social media. So I made me an Instagram account, and he said Instagram should be fine. That's about all you need. So I just kind of stuck with that and rolled from there.
You are smart beyond your years, man, because Facebook, Twitter, so much drama. A lot of artists, a lot of creators, a lot of people that have quote unquote made it, because they're getting paid $20 million a year, have broken down just to Instagram, because it's put a picture out there, show you what I'm doing, and then leave it. Get out.
Yeah.
Don't read the quotes. Don't read the get a DM there. Yes, that is all you need, man. It gives, I put my flyers out there, but yes, I have Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Those are my 4. People are trying to get me into the TikTok and Snap, and
Yeah.
it's just too much. It's just too much, man. It's going to take away from what I'm doing. You are so smart,
too
man.
much.
You are so smart.
Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. And it is just about building that following on one platform, which I'm trying to do right now with the Instagram, you know. But it just takes time. Like I said, once I get my face out there in the city more, I really got to get this city on my back, man. The city of Charlottesville getting to know me more, and I think that'll come around summertime when like I said, I start doing those gigs a little bit and feel those out and kind of get my face around town, you know.
Well, you're in a college town. There's a lot of people out there that I suspect want to hear something new, something different. And you're something new. You're something different. You are a different person. Not everybody's exactly the same. Maybe you got some influences from other people, but nobody's giving it exactly the way you are. GXM, God X Martin, Martian, which is how I'm looking at it. God X Martian or God times Martian. That's the way that people have to look you up on Instagram and find you on Spotify.
Yeah, man, you got it, dude. You know, and even my name is out of this world. I was sitting out here, man. I was actually, you know, a little bit intoxicated when I made that up, but I'm sticking with it because I like it. I can relate, you know, being a god mixed with a Martian. That's who I am. I feel like.
Do it, man. It's unique. I mean, because who knows how names get made for rappers in particular. You got Childish Gambino made his name with a Wu-Tang namer. That's how he ended up with that. And, you know, and what is it? Big Baby Jesus and Old Dirty Bastard. And what is in a name? Yeah. It's just a name to get you out there and set you apart from the others, man. And that's what you're doing. You and that pretty face of yours.
Yeah, you got it.
All right, man. As we wind this down, I usually say, give the people the last words for the people. It could be something that you live by, so, you know, words to live by, something that you heard from your mom or your dad, or just whatever pops into your head at this particular moment in time. So GXM, last words for the people.
All right, I want to take this time to speak about mental health for anybody who's battling mental health issues, especially at this time with the pandemic. You can get through them. You don't need to turn to substance. Reach out to a psychiatrist or a local primary care physician and speak with them about your depression, anxiety, whatever it may be, because there is a medication out there for you. Maybe even just a little bit of therapy, you know, will do the trick. So don't get down, beat that depression, you know, just think positively and find a passion, whether it be music, art, writing, drawing, whatever you want to do. You find that passion and stick to it, and that should take care of a lot of the depression and anxiety in there in itself.
Well, there you have it, party people. GXM. Come on. 19 years old and already so talented. The man has knowledge. The man has wisdom. He's putting that wisdom and knowledge in his notebooks, spitting it into a microphone against a beat and giving it to you on Spotify. I'm sure it's on Apple iTunes. I know I found him out there on Spotify, but look him up on GXM, God times Martian on his Instagram and follow him. Put a little follow on there and find out. I mean, there's only one way to go. It's going up and up and up. We're at the ground floor, and this God times Martian, God times Martian, God X Martian is going up. So let's go for a ride. Yeah. All right. I see nothing but great things happening. All right. That's it for this edition. If you'd like to tell your story, I encourage you to give me a call at 501-470-6386 or email info@radiowhat.com. That's it for this edition of What Makes You Famous. I hope everyone's doing reasonably well. You can call me if you're lonely, if you're stuck indoors and you're feeling anxious. Hey, call somebody. If you're not going to call me, call somebody. You know, there's somebody that's going to make you feel good, that's going to give you that connection. Don't be afraid. You know, call somebody. That's it for me. It's Keys Dan, RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com. Peace. I'm out of here. If you like what you hear, follow What Makes You Famous social media. Use the hashtag What Makes You Famous. Follow on Facebook, at What Makes You Famous. Follow on Instagram at What Makes You Famous. Follow on Twitter at Makes Famous. And follow on YouTube at Keys Dan. Leave What Makes You Famous podcast a review and subscribe. Listen to What Makes You Famous podcast on Podbean, iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, and Spotify, and almost anywhere you find podcasts. Tell your story on my podcast, What Makes You Famous. Call 501-470-6386 and leave a message to set up a time. You can support What Makes You Famous using the PayPal link, paypal.me/KeysDan. Email info@radiowhat.com. What Makes You Famous podcast is a production of Keys Dan Enterprises Incorporated at keysdan.com. Thank you for listening.
Radio What? The music you want with some great quotes. To achieve great things, one must live as though we were never going to die. Marquis de Vavanegas. The music you want. RadioWhat.com. This is Keys Dan.
And this is Shelly G.
And you're listening to
Radio What?
.com.